Hey, many of you have been asking, how do you do overseas education? How do you go about doing it? How do you select any university? And I got the right person for you today. This is Nithi. He's been my friend for a long time, and I know he's an expert in this field. Why? Because he's been involved in teaching a lot of colleges, best colleges in India, and universities in UK, Malaysia, Singapore. And I don't think we can get a better person than this to answer this question. Nithi, since your last several decades of experience in teaching in Indian universities and in foreign universities, right? What is the difference in the approach, right? The way things are taught in Indian colleges and in a foreign university.
Well, thank you for having me here, Krish, and for those kind words, which I'm not so sure if I fully deserve. But the truth of the matter is, and I think I've been, quite a beneficiary of foreign education, and I was part of a UK system, and I realized that when I actually left for my overseas education, there was a lot of things that I didn't know.
What is the course you did, Nithi?
I did an MBA program, of course, after a couple of years of my work, which I decided to do. And the things that actually surprised me is the learnings which I never knew that I was actually going to get, which is a lot to do with the academic style and approach. It was a very, very big challenge for me because I was not exposed to a research-based kind of an environment. And I suddenly was thrown on this and said, well, you got to go and find out. You got to go and explore things. And I said, well, really? How do I do that? And that's when I realized that the education system in the UK is such that even undergraduate students are actually exposed to the research environment, and I was getting to know about it at the master's level. And this was a very, very difficult semester for me, particularly the first semester, because I realized that is the big thing that I need to come across and in a crossover, which I eventually did, but it was a very hard learning.
Our Indian education system is basically classroom teaching, a lot of theoretical stuff.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the thing. The thing that which I realized that it's not making students independent in their approach and learning. So it's like they just give you a framework. It's a framework. They give it to you. It's like a skeleton that's thrown in front of you, and you are supposed to add the meat. You're not given a whole body. If I were to put it that way, and that's ideally the way in which the entire learning works. Which I think is well, of course, apart from that, there's so many other things. There's this intercultural interaction, and there is this networking opportunity, which I think in today's context is far more important than in previous years, because today is all global, and we've got people working from anywhere, any part of the world, even right here in India. We've got many expatriates working here. So I think it's kind of important in that sense.
They say, the world has become shrunk because of transportation, telecommunication. People even say, I have breakfast in Singapore, lunch in Dubai, and sleeping in Australia. I think in such a global context, I think it'd be really nice when we are young to be exposed to that kind of, it broadens our horizons.
I thought so, yes.
So I think that's a big takeaway when you have some education, which is, it's like you're going out of the well and just seeing what is happening around. And I think when you're in, it gives you a lot of responsibility, it makes you more independent.
Very true.
And you see world from a bigger perspective. It's like having an eagle's view.
Very true. And I think that really changes an individual. It changed me quite a lot because I saw the world differently when I came back, and that actually benefited me even at the workplace, and how I saw things and how I was practical in the way in which I looked at things was very different. In fact, I became more tolerant about people because I came to know, well, when you're of your own kind, you're less tolerant. When in different cultures, you actually become more tolerant, you're more patient, you're listening more carefully, and you have there's an entire way in which you approach life is itself different.
Definitely, it helps us in any aspect of life, even in personal life after that. When you're more empathetic and when you're sensitive to the changes in culture, right? Just can you imagine having a friend from US, another from Nigeria, another person from China sitting with you, right, and sharing, learning, getting to know their culture. I
Yes.
think it's something really beautiful. People miss out on all these things, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's important. And even when you look at it in terms of the faculties,
Mm.
they come from across the globe. And you have to sometimes be, very careful listener to someone who could be a person from Holland,
Mm.
and you have to, get to used to the accents.
Very true.
You know, you have to learn it in different ways. And tomorrow you get back to the corporate world, you never know. You could have a German who's speaking to you in English, and he would obviously have an accent,
True.
which would be different from yours.
True.
And I think those are all very important learnings.
In India, what usually happens is any fair-skinned guy you say is a foreigner.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know from, but when you spend a lot of time interacting, right? Even the accent, you must be which part of UK you belong to. All the small little things. It makes a lot of difference tomorrow when you're part of an intercultural team,
Yes.
right? Project team. It makes a lot of difference. People accept you, and you feel more confident in approaching people, making a deal, negotiating, doing conflict management. Right? There is no fear inside you, no inhibitions inside you.
True.
I think it's very important. And all these things, learnings happens when you're young. The more we grow up,
True.
then you go, already there is a lot of resistance from inside, a lot of fear inside. So I think it's a beautiful idea to go abroad and study because it changes our personality altogether.
Very true.
Right.
Very, very true. Indeed.